What's up, my bearded bros? Maine-iac here with another edition of the power rankings for the playoffs. We had 4 teams leave, so whether they slip all the way down to 12, 11, 10, and 9, we'll see in a second. Don't forget to show your support by leaving a like, subscribing if you are new. If you want to see more of this stuff, let me know. If not, that's fine. You can just X out right now if you don't want to see this. I'm going to start with the 14, well, not with the 4 teams who were eliminated, but the 8 wildcard teams. As you can see here, I believe at number 12, you have the Buffalo Bills. I think the Buffalo Bills were number 12 anyway. Kind of a bad team. Don't know, they made it out of another team's loss, which is an unfortunate way to get in, especially when you're kind of bad. At number 11, you have the Kansas City Chiefs. Their defense played bad. The deflected pass to Mariota for the touchdown. Incredible stuff. Incredible stuff. They got kind of unlucky there, but their offensive play calling was terrible. Their defensive play calling was terrible in the second half. It was just a mess, a crumble. Then we enter the top 10. We enter the top 10. So the next 2 losers here are the Carolina Panthers and the Los Angeles Rams. But they're not going to be number 10. Number 10 is going to be someone who's still in the playoffs. Number 10 is going to be the Tennessee Titans. Now, I feel weird saying this, I really do, but with so many good teams left in the playoffs, I've ranked the Titans down here. I feel part of it was bad calls by the referee, part of it was an intense matchup, and part of it was some lucky plays. I think they're severe underdogs. I believe one thing said the Patriots were 85% chance to win this game, and that's incredible. If you are disrespected that much in the playoffs, it doesn't say much about what everyone thinks about your team, and it's kind of sad. Inconsistency at the quarterback position is a concern. DeMarco Murray is day-to-day. Derrick Henry, great running back, but the receiving threat, there's no one who necessarily scares you too much. I got mad respect for Delaney Walker, though, one of the most underrated tight ends in the league, but still, just something about this team just says to me that they're not higher than 10. At number 9, we have the Philadelphia Eagles, who I'm placing down here quite low, I know, but Nick Foles at quarterback really, really concerns me. It's like a hazardous sign. Like you need to put a quarantine sign on the Philadelphia quarterback situation right now. Because I think with Wentz, they'd probably be favorites to win the Super Bowl. But with Foles, they're probably going to be one and done, and that is just drastically different. And I can't. Anybody who has quarterback issues, I can't safely put them too high, especially with this loaded playoff field that we have. At number 8, we have the Carolina Panthers, who had an early loss to the Saints. Some bad plays here. The defense kind of got exposed. They did limit Kamara and Ingram on the run game, though, which is impressive on its own right. Cam Newton showed his inconsistencies again. And just the end of the game, a crazy scenario where they went for it on 4th down. Carolina intercepted the ball, and it kind of cost them the game at the end. The controversial intentional grounding rule cost them at the end as well. It's just a tough way for this team to lose, but they lost and they're out, so it's not like they can go too much higher. And then at number 7, we have the Los Angeles Rams. Now, I feel bad for saying this. The Rams played good all year. They were a little bit higher for me initially, but the inexperience really showed up. I think next year it will be different if they can be as consistent. Aaron Donald, such a great defender. We're going to miss him when he's gone, basically. Gurley really showed up, 14 carries for, I believe, 100 and something yards. The fact that Gurley only had 14 carries is kind of concerning when it comes to the play calling, at least. Even Woods had a good day, receiving-wise. But just the mistakes that this team made, it cost them against the Falcons team. And they just couldn't match up. And it was kind of sad to watch. And that leaves 6 of the playoff contenders that are still alive for the top 6. The top half, you have the Jaguars, Falcons, Saints, Patriots, Steelers, and Vikings. Now, a really close group like this, I think anybody in this group realistically could be at the top. But at number 6, we're gonna have the Jacksonville Jaguars, who quarterback Blake Bortles, I believe, had 88 pass yards or 87, and then like 89 rushing yards or something like that. Very disappointing numbers, and they're going up against the Steelers team that raises some concerns about their offensive consistencies. If this Jaguars team faces a really, really, really good defense team who actually has an offense, can they survive? I doubt that. I highly doubt that. I highly doubt they can even beat a suspect defensive team like the Pittsburgh Steelers. But we shall see. And it'll be interesting. It'll be kind of a heartfelt moment to see Shazier back at the stadium watching the playoff game. Maybe they'll let him on the sideline. Who knows? But with a quarterback, I like Blake Bortles. I gotta put him at number 6. At number 5, we have the Atlanta Falcons, favorites against the number 1 seed Philadelphia Eagles. Doesn't say too much. They did beat the Rams, and I'm not underestimating the Falcons whatsoever. I just believe inconsistent play with Matt Ryan and consistencies on the defense. Even though they are a very good team run game, they have a very good pass game, very good receivers, and a very good defense. One of those units is usually inconsistent when it comes to a game-to-game basis. It sometimes switches up between who. They have a tough match. They have an easier matchup here against this week against Nick Foles-led offense, but I think if it was anybody else, if it was New Orleans, if it was Minnesota, the Falcons would be scared right now, or at least Falcon fans would be scared about their team making it to the next round. I think the Falcons basically almost have a free ride to the NFC Championship game. I don't want to disrespect the Eagles too much, but they probably got the easiest path to the NFC Championship game. If they were the 5th seed, they probably would have had a much, much harder journey. And that brings us to the top 4. The Saints, Vikings, Steelers, Patriots. Probably the favorites to, or who at least I picked to go to the, probably my picks to go to the NFC Championship game until, I should say, the seeds folded out how they did. With the Falcons upsetting the Rams, that sends New Orleans to Minnesota, so they can't meet in the NFC Championship game anymore. Sad, whereas if the Rams won, they would. Top 4. These teams are very close, very close. At number 4, I'm going to have to put the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't want to show any disrespect to them. They have a great quarterback. An amazing, amazing wide receiving core in Schuster, Brown, James at tight end, Bryant, dynamic in his own right. Le'Veon Bell, you can throw him in there too. Even Fitzgerald Toussaint can catch relatively well. It's a very, very dangerous offense. Ben Roethlisberger is prone to inconsistencies on the road, but they do play at home this week. The thing that concerns me the most about this team is the defense. Their defense has been exposed since Shazier has gone out. I believe they're going to benefit from facing a Blake Bortles this week. Try to get more into a rhythm. It should be good they had a week off. Antonio Brown should come back healthy as well. Out of the 4 teams, though, I think their defensive unit is probably the most concerning out of all of them, and that's why I have to put them down here. And at number 3, we have the New Orleans Saints, who I believe could arguably be the best team in the NFC. They are probably going to be the toughest path for the Vikings to play a Super Bowl at home. If the Vikings win this one against the Saints, I think they are going to be probably a 70-something% favorite to win. The Saints are underdogs, but they're close. With Kamara and Ingram in the run game, you have to worry about both of them receiving, even though Ingram's not as much of a receiving back, but he still can. Kamara's a dynamic runner, a dynamic receiver. You got Michael Thomas on the outside. You have Ted Ginn as well, a dynamic duo right there. Marshawn Lattimore, one of the best young DBs in the league. I think he's right next to Tre'Davious White as probably the 2 best rookie corners in the league right now. I apologize if I left anybody out there. But some holes on the defense, I think, that can be exposed. The fact that Ingram and Kamara were slowed down by the Panthers last week is concerning as well. Drew Brees played well. He threw incredibly well. The interception is a little blemish on his record, but it's kind of like one of those helpful interceptions. It was almost better than a punt kind of thing. And then it's just the fact that I think the two teams ahead of them are a little better. It's no disrespect to the Saints whatsoever. If they make it to the Super Bowl, they have a good chance of winning. Then you have the Minnesota Vikings, I think, at number 2. I don't want to disrespect anybody here. The Vikings have an amazing, daunting, scary defense. Probably if they make it to the Super Bowl, they will be Super Bowl favorites. I think they honestly have the hardest matchup this week, as I just said previously. You have Case Keenum, very, very young, or very, very underrated quarterback right now. Latavius Murray and Jerick McKinnon are a good running back core, but they can be slowed down, and that causes some concern. You got dynamic receivers in Thielen, Rudolph at tight end, Diggs, but they have been shut down before. The thing that's going to carry these Vikings to the Super Bowl if they make it is their defense, and you can scheme around it. It's almost like a nuclear missile. It is hard to scheme around, but you can do it. They can be exposed. And as for number 1, New England Patriots, it's kind of the opposite, where you can slow down this Vikings offense just a little bit, just enough to win. With the Patriots defense, you can kind of tire them out maybe enough to win, pound the ball, which I think if it comes to a Saints-Patriots matchup, they can pound the ball enough. But the Patriots have this weird, like, their defense is their weak point, I get it, but they have this weird ineptitude where they are one of the worst defenses when it comes to yards, but for some reason when it comes to points and red zone defense, they're one of the best, which is very, very nerve-wracking to watch if you're a Patriots fan, because you'll see teams march down the field, but then you'll just see them stop. And it's like, is this the time that they can't stop them? But for some reason they keep stopping them. They have one of the best quarterbacks in NFL history. They have a dynamic trio of receiving and running backs. They're not very, very good runners, but they can all catch. So if you see some 2-back sets with Dion Lewis, James White, and Rex Burkhead, it's hard to match up against all 3 of them. They have slightly different skill sets, so they can bait you into telling you if you're covering man-to-man or a zone, just like any good offense can. And that, in the way the Patriots system works, Brady can change the play at the line instantly into probably 2 or 3 different options. Hogan's coming back, so that adds another deep threat to Brandon Cooks. I think ideally the set you want to see on offense, the Patriots, the 5 players are Cooks, Hogan, Gronk, Amendola, and Dion Lewis. But you can interchange that out. Devlin is all Pro Bowl fullback, Pro Bowl fullback. Gronk's All-Pro. Brady's All-Pro, I believe. This defense, I think, with James Harrison, is going to perform better against the run, but that has yet to be seen. I need to see some more consistency between Stephon Gilmore and Malcolm Butler before I go too hard over the Patriots, but it's there. Like I said, all 4 of these top 4 teams are extremely close, and I could make a really good argument for either one of them winning the Super Bowl. It should be an interesting week to see who makes it to the conference championships games. Anyway, guys, let me know in the comment section down below. Who do you think is the number 1 team in the playoffs right now? And who do you think is the worst? Let me know. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.